83rd episode of meeting with friends here on our roundtable or the current event show, whichever you want to call it. I like to call it the current event show, but I think we're going to start. I think maybe we might be changing the name of this show to "You Can Write a Book About That," or "You Should Write a Book About That." So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It's Wednesday on the whatever day it is, the 22nd, and it is 5:05 in the afternoon. So everybody this is the busiest travel day of the year. And so we are here having a good time, partying our behinds off for those kids that are listening. And remember, this is an opinion show. So whatever you hear, do your own research, and welcome everybody, and happy and a healthy Thanksgiving to everyone, including all of the American Indians out there that are listening. So just want to let you know that this is a great holiday for everybody. So don't forget to send the cards and letters. So welcome. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing great. I just saw David Letterman on Stephen Colbert the other night, and that was really entertaining. I don't know if you're into David Letterman, but he's just a unique guy, and he was Stephen Colbert's guest on the show. It was really great to see, and he's really a fan of music, and so he brought on the band that he wanted to have play, the band called The National. You ever heard of them?
No, no, no.
Neither had I, but yeah, it was one of his favorite bands, and he wanted them to play on his episode of Stephen Colbert. Because it was like, David Letterman used to do his show from that same theater where Stephen
Yeah,
Colbert's show is done from now. So it's kind of a momentous occasion to bring David Letterman back to his theater. It was very cool. Anyway,
it was very cool. I didn't get to see it. I just saw the opening monologue because I catch it on YouTube rather than YouTube TV. And I was going to watch the Letterman, as Letterman's an acquired taste, though. He is an acquired taste, but he's been
you
around a
should
long
you should
time.
watch if you have a chance to watch that interview with him and Stephen Colbert. I think you'll get a kick out of it no matter what, because he's just quirky as all David Letterman has always been.
Has he shaved, or does he still have that huge beard?
Still has a giant Santa Claus beard. He's pretty interesting looking, but that's his thing, I guess.
It's crazy, for I guess he must have said to himself, I had to be clean shaven all of these years to be on TV. So screw it, screw it. I don't want to I don't want to look like that anymore. I want to look like Santa Claus, because
I
that is a
guess
big
I
white
guess
beard,
so. It's very
you know.
big. Yeah, yeah. It's pretty different. He was talking about his son just went off to college last year. He's a sophomore now. He was talking about how it was his wife's birthday that day. He was good. He was really good.
Yeah, yeah. He had this show on Netflix, and I'm trying to remember, without any introduction, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, this is
And
some quirky name. Yeah, this next our next guest needs no introduction or something like that. Something like
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I've watched some of them. I mean, some of them were really good. As a matter of fact, everyone I watched was really good. And the one that stands out, I guess the one that stands out to me was the Seinfeld one, which I thought was pretty cool, you know.
Yeah,
And he
Seinfeld's
did
a
Barack
great.
Obama. And I thought it
He's
was
good
really
at
cool.
chatting. Yep, very cool.
Good interviewing, good interviewing. So
Yep.
speaking of old timers, the Rolling Stones, the Mick Jagger's over 80, and they are going back out on the road, the Rolling Stones. I find that fascinating that
You
they're
saw
going
who
to do it.
sponsors the sponsor of the tour is?
The AARP, it's crazy.
That's
It's
the best.
crazy.
That's just funny. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think it's crazy that they're being sponsored by the Association of Retired People, I think
Yep,
that's what
it's
it
great.
stands for.
American Association of Retired People, right? Isn't that what it is? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, they're a pretty big lobbying organization. I'm a member. It's like one of those things that you say when they finally send you your invitation. You say, "I'm not that old. What do I need this for?"
Hey, this is for my father, right? Okay.
Yeah, this is not for me. This is not for
Right.
me.
Right.
What the hell, you know? So,
Right.
but I thought it was pretty cool that they're doing it. And the Stones, the Stones had to approve it. So, hey, there you have it. You
It's going to
know,
be great. Another big stadium tour. That's what the world needs. Another big stadium tour for 2024.
well, when you think about it, okay, so Live Nation had the best year ever, billions and billions and billions of dollars that they made. I think 2.3 billion. And now they've been stonewalling the Senate, the U.S. Senate. So the U.S. Senate subcommittee just issued them a subpoena, Live Nation, because they're not cooperating with all these junk fees, you know? And I believe that they're thinking that Ticketmaster now, part of Live Nation, and is now a monopoly and controlling the concert industry. Which I never would have thought that that would have been an industry that people would regulate, but it seems like it needs to be regulated because people like to be entertained, and they're
But they're
charging.
taking advantage. They're taking advantage of that
Yeah, they're
monopoly
taking
big
advantage
time.
of
They
it.
got their
Yeah.
fees like crazy. So wait, now what's the relationship between AEG Live and Live Nation? They're two separate entities that do the same thing, right?
That's correct. They're two different companies. Two different companies.
Because AEG Live, what runs like the crypto.com arena, used to be the Staples Center in LA, right? Doesn't it?
Well, they only have a fraction of the market, whereas Live Nation has the bulk of the market. Live Nation has
Okay.
gone into not only do they own Ticketmaster, and remember, do your own do your own research right now because I'm just making this up as I go. But not only do they own Ticketmaster, but they also own all the venues that they've owned so many venues, i.e., the House of Blues. They own that. And they own a bunch of other venues. I don't know them all, but so basically, and they have management, whereas they manage artists as well. So basically, they have basically a vertical operation where they have the artist, they have the venue, they have the ticket sales, and they're controlling all of this. So the thought is that, look, if you're going to book my act, you're gonna book it my way, and I'm not going to let you, if you're gonna book something from another agency, then we're not going to cooperate with you. So you either have to book all of our acts all of the time, or we're not going to give you anything, and then you're going to be stuck with the dribs and drabs of what with what AEG has to offer you, and that'll limit you. So Live Nation is really, I think that they have created a monopoly.
Well, the future will tell how that pans out.
Well, it's Richard Blumenthal has subpoenaed them, and so I think we're going to find out pretty soon on what's going on with Live Nation. You actually, not only do you perform with shows with Barry Manilow, but you also are a ticket buyer, which is interesting to me that you go out and buy concert tickets.
Well, I'm not one of those people that's connected to everybody that can, oh, hey, Joe, can you get me into the show? I'm not one of those people. There's lots of those people that know everybody or know enough people that they never pay for tickets, but I was never one of those people.
Oh, I was definitely one of those people. And not only was I one of those people, I was backstage on most of the shows. So it was a kind of interesting transition of, well, do I buy a ticket and sit in the audience where I have no control over my destiny, or do I not go to the show because I'm so used to being with the artist and being backstage for all the years that I was in the concert business?
Right. Well,
I, you know, I,
I have chosen to, Cheryl likes to go see shows, and she likes that a lot. So I just try to be an attendee, and I try not to let my pickiness about the concert get in the way of her experience. So I try to make it a good experience for her by not focusing on that stuff too much. And she, if I were to know somebody that was working at a concert, and they got me backstage passes or something. She wouldn't even be interested in doing that because where do you sit? Where do you enjoy the concert? Not backstage, you know. So it's mostly just trying to keep Cheryl happy.
Yeah, I mean, the basic thought process that I think about it, is that I've been backstage so many times, and I remember one time, and this is, you should write a book about this. Oh, I should. Oh, yeah. What a coincidence. But basically, I remember one time being backstage at a Bon Jovi show, and I was with my good friend Peter, who was their travel agent, and we were in the office talking about, I don't know what we were bullshitting about something with John's production manager, great guy, Omar Abderman, love him, and we were just talking about stuff and nothing, just like we're rambling on here. And I realized that the band was on stage, and it made me realize that, man, the reason I got into this business in the first place was for the music, because I love the music. And now I am on the business side in the back of it. And I said, guys, I got to go out and listen to the band, you know? And so I went out and listened to the band, and it's crazy that I've been involved with so many different bands, especially selling the gear to so many bands. And I mean, we've worked with so many different artists over the years. And I have personally, being in the A&R world, working for a record label, um, you know, so it was and living in Hollywood, or living in Las Vegas, where you get to see the best of the acts. And now being in Thailand, some of my friends say, "Hey, we're going to see the ABBA tribute band." What? Oh no, I can't do that. I just can't do that. I can't do that. Oh, come on, there'll be food and drinks. Let's go. We're all going. And I went to go see the ABBA tribute band, and no matter how hard I wanted to be in the moment of, being wrapped up with the ABBA tribute band, they were horrible. I mean, they were just
Oh, I'm sorry
horrible.
to hear that. Oh, that's too bad. Oh.
You know?
I was hoping you were going to end that story with, and I went to see Abbott Tribute Band, and they were fabulous, and I had a great time. I just, turned off all those picky things that I normally would have, thinking about why they're doing this or why they're doing that, and you turned it all off, and you loved the Abbott Tribute Band, but that was not the story. Oh well.
Well, I'm going to change my story now, because that's what you want to hear. I'm telling you, they were amazing, unbelievable. I mean, they even looked like ABBA, at least the cartoon version of them. Uh, you know,
Well, David works for that Eagles tribute band, and he's having a great time working for them. It's almost
yeah,
as if he's working for the Eagles. It's fantastic.
yeah. I wish he was here right now, but I guess he's got more important things to do. He's eating
I'm
ribs
sure he
again, I
does.
guess.
Yeah. So yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's been people around a long time. Like Dick Van Dyke is still alive. I mean,
Well, but
um,
you mentioned Omar Abdurrahman. Now, let me just tell you, Omar was Barry Manilow's production manager for some months many years ago. Did you know that?
yeah, 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 long time.
And he was also production manager on some shows that Barry's Monitor Guy did. And so I texted Omar a while ago. I forget why, but I texted him a while ago, and he remembered me and stuff. And he's a great guy.
He is absolutely amazing, amazing guy. He's working with the Jonas Brothers right now. He's on
Oh,
the
is
road with
he?
the
That's
Jonas
funny
Brothers.
because I know somebody that's working on that show. I'll have to say something to them.
Yeah, he's the production manager, and he's done some. I've traveled all over the world going to some of the shows that he did. Miley Cyrus, he did Ariana Grande.
He's one of those guys that just knows how to make it all happen, you know?
Oh yeah,
And puts
absolutely.
the right people in the right places so that he's confident everything is gonna. And he has some phrases that he likes to use that I remember every once in a while. I flash back to Omar would say, "Showtime is 8 o'clock, as God intended." That's
Well, he seems
things
to
like
get it
that.
together.
Well,
He
he's
gets
got it
it
really
together,
together.
and
Yeah, yeah.
he does shows all over the
He,
world.
here was his claim to fame on the Manilow tour was that on the Manilow tour, Barry said, "I just want to have one camera focused on me for the whole show, and just keep it on my face, and that'll work. That'll work. I promise you, that'll work." And Omar was like, "No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that." And he kind of refused to do that for a while. Eventually, I think he gave in and said, "Go ahead, whatever." And frankly, Barry's right. It works 90% of the time. You can just stay on his face, but you should have a properly cut show for his show. It's just so silly when it's just one camera the whole show, but it works for 90% of the show.
Well, the interesting thing is it's the audience perspective. What do you think the audience wants to see? And so the IMAG aspect is that it basically the director of the IMAG is really controlling what he believes that the audience wants to see. And of course the artist has overall control of what it is. If he says, "Hey, I want you to put that camera on my mug and follow me around," well, that sounds to me that that's what's going to happen. And then the audience has to look at, focus on what they want to see with binoculars. If they want to see the guitar riff, or they want to see the saxophone player, or they want to see the backup singers, or whatever it is they want to see, you know?
Right. But the average concert goer is fine with with what the director wants them to see, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, then you go into a thing like the Sphere, and then where the video is everywhere, and it's an intricate part of the show. And then a lot of it is pre-recorded as well. But I would think that, I mean, one of my very first gigs was doing IMAG, and my very first road tour was on the road with Led Zeppelin doing IMAG, although it didn't last very long. And that's something I should write a book once I hear from my lawyer about the statute of limitations of what I did. But that's about the size of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be not able to write about their stories because, especially these days, because they signed NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, and so there's only so much you can say that doesn't void your. I mean, it doesn't disobey your NDA and get you in a lot of trouble, right?
Yeah, well, not only that, of course, in the old days of sex, drug, and rock and roll, now you can't, you can't, you could talk about the drugs part, and you could talk about the rock and roll part, but you can't talk about the sex part, because it could come back to haunt you, especially if
Yeah,
you're
the
famous. I mean, look at Steven Tyler.
politically correctness. Yeah. Well, yeah. What happened to him? I noticed he's fallen from grace, so to speak. Is he still out there doing shows?
Well, he's quite old, and I think he did have some medical problems. But right now, he's being sued by like an ex-girlfriend, on something. But you'd have to do your own research on that.
Sorry to hear that. That's too bad. Because forever it was like do whatever you want. It's show business. It's like it's another world, and we live by different rules. We don't go by the laws, that the government makes. We go by different laws. But now
Well, I
that's
think
turning
that
around.
basically, I think what's happened is that America has become too litigious. I mean, that's all there is to it. They're just it's not about like, what was it? Diddy, is that the guy's name, Tina? Sean Diddy, Sean, what's
Diddy,
his
yeah,
name?
Sean Combs, P.
Yeah,
Diddy.
Sean
He has a
Combs.
lot of names.
So basically, his ex-girlfriend sued him, or and it wasn't about anything but the
Well,
money.
she
All she
tried. It was
wanted was
so quick,
money.
the settlement.
Yeah, it was all about money. It wasn't about anything else. I mean, what do they say? There's nothing worse than the fury of a scorned woman. You
Well,
know?
wait, what are we
Yeah.
talking about? Which lawsuit are we talking about? The recent one?
Yeah, the one where he just made this huge settlement that nobody knows about because she
Well,
accused him of
Jan, let me tell you something. I, I
telling me
I
something.
agree with her because this dude isn't what everybody thinks he is, in my opinion. so
Yeah.
so if she claims, her claims are really, really terrible. And if he decided to settle it for between 10 and 99.9 million, according to CNBC, then something happened. He forced her, she claims he forced her into sex slave trade. He raped her, he beat her all the time. I mean, I used to always wonder why they separated so quick and why they didn't look happy all the time, why they were always
Yeah.
separate, the way he carried her. So I'm not saying that she didn't sue him because she needed money, but I'm saying she needed to be compensated for that. That's fine. He has it. He's worth over a billion. So, I mean, if he,
Unbelievable. Over $1 billion. Wow.
It's crazy. It's crazy what men do. It's,
yeah.
isn't it?
I mean, but he settled
it's
it
appalling
so
to me.
quick.
It's appalling
I
to
mean,
me.
think
Well,
about
he
that.
doesn't want the bad press, right?
Well,
But
he can't afford it
he
with all
must have been.
well,
He
with
he
all the
must have been at
rumors
least a
going
little
around right
guilty,
now
right?
about him.
He
Exactly.
must have been at least a little guilty.
He had to be. But
Well,
he
good
has a
for
lot.
her.
There's a lot
Hopefully
of
she got a
theories
lot
and
of money.
rumors about him going around right now. So that would just blow everything out the water for him. So
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, usually what we find out is that, if you're in the wrong, if you're in the wrong, that you fight it. If you're in the right and you settle as quickly, if they're in the right, you settle as quickly as possible.
I mean, he
If
settled that
if you're in
within
the
3
wrong,
days. Like it was settled.
yeah,
Oh no.
yeah. That's that. I heard that a long time ago. If you're in the right, if you're in the right, you just settle, get it
Did
over
you
with.
see,
That's if you're in the wrong,
Jan?
then
Did
you
you
fight it.
speaking of settling? Did you see that movie? What's it called? The Burial. The Burial. Did you see that movie yet?
Not yet. No, I haven't seen it.
That movie. In that movie, the key person in the movie, the funeral home operator, did not want to settle, and his lawyer really did not want to settle. That lawyer, who was played by Jamie Foxx, said, "We're not settling. No way are we settling. If we're settling for no, because I've never lost a case, and he considered a settling as a loss." So he was like, if they were going to settle, you got to see the movie, but anyway. The point is, it's a true story, and it actually happened this way in terms of the settlement. And in the end, they won the case, and the jury awarded him an extraordinary amount of money, and it was way more than any of the settlements that were offered. And anyway, it's an interesting story. I'm sorry to change the subject away from P. Diddy,
No,
but settling is
I think
is
the
a very
burial
common
is a good
thing.
thing to start about right now. And the
The-
reality is of course, it all blends together. In reality, it all just blends together.
Well, lawsuits and settlements and things like that. The case, the case that funeral home operator had in the burial was a really good case, and I guess so, because he won, and the jury awarded him tons of money, and then they appealed it, and they lowered the amount, but he still paid him way more. The reason he wanted to get so much money from this other company was because they tried to put him out of business as a small operator. And so he was like, in return, I'm going to put you out of business. And he succeeded as the small guy. It was like David and Goliath kind of story, It was really cool.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend that movie, especially because Jamie Foxx and Tommy Lee Jones are just such great actors. You wouldn't even think that they were an actor. They were that person. And Jamie Foxx played the lawyer, and just a great character. He's a great, my father would call him a character, just a great personality that lawyer had. It was cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
that's my film recommendation for the week.
Well, I would say that's a good recommendation. I'm going to see Napoleon tonight for Thanksgiving because I hear it's a really good movie, Napoleon. It's a huge, big screen kind of thing. Joaquin Phillips, that's his name. Joaquin Phillips, is that his name?
Sounds familiar.
I believe it is. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Yes, that's his name.
He's one hell of a character actor, man. When he gets into a role, man, he gets into it all
He
the way.
becomes that
speaking
person.
of
Yeah,
Letterman, speaking of Letterman, with that interview, that was one of like the more famous interviews where he was in character of one of his characters that he wouldn't get out of. I think that could be the reason why Letterman grew a beard, is thanks to Joaquin Phoenix having a beard. It's Joaquin
No
Phoenix.
kidding.
That's what it is, not Phillips.
Wait, Joaquin Phoenix. So wait, are you saying he was on the David Letterman show and it was a very memorable interview?
It was an amazing interview because he wouldn't say anything. He
What?
basically just didn't say anything in the interview. It was like only one word answers and stuff. So if I remember correctly, yeah, just Google it.
That's
Joaquin
a
Phillips,
chat.
David
That's a
Letterman.
talk show host's nightmare. And somebody that doesn't
Yeah,
answer in full sentences.
yeah,
Wow.
and it was like he was in character. He was like almost he was like drunk, if I remember. But he wasn't drunk. He was just playing the character, whatever character he was.
How
Doing
about that?
the publicity tour for at the time. So,
Wow.
but speaking of characters, Dick
Oh,
Van Dyke, man, Dick Van Dyke will be honored in a CBS special airing next month. So, I mean, Dick Van Dyke, man, like what a lovable guy,
and
just
old.
lovable. Yeah,
Very
I
old,
think
right?
I think he's getting to be in his 90s. I mean, there's a lot of characters out there that are in their 90s right now that we like. Mel Brooks is still alive, I believe, and he's getting up there in his 90s. And I think I don't remember if Carl Reiner is still with us or not, but Rob Reiner is
Carl
definitely
Reiner,
with
yeah.
us.
Carl Reiner. Yeah, Carl Reiner must be.
Yeah, and Rob Reiner is now in the news. Have you seen this? Have you seen Rob Reiner going around doing the publicity
Oh,
circuit right now? He's got a podcast out. It'll be 10 series of who killed JFK. They now
oh,
have
and
proven
I heard it's real interesting. There's some twists to the
it's
story.
it's amazingly it's like it's like he says, if you were alive, what does that say?
That says Carl Reiner died in 2020.
Oh well, he's gone.
So, just
But
goes to show you that was my opinion. He must be still alive. That was totally wrong.
well, he's alive in your minds, and that's a
Yeah,
good
I
thing,
guess so.
for
But
Carl.
he was
You
98 when
know,
he died in 2020.
yeah,
98. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, but on the other hand, Kennedy is definitely dead, and
But the
basically,
question is, how did he die? Is that is it disputable? I mean, is it negotiable? Sort of. I mean, are they talking about
oh,
different methods?
they absolutely now have proof that the incredible bullet. I mean, there was a scene on Seinfeld where they did a takeoff on that with a baseball player. About with Newman had spit on him and stuff, stuff like that, where he spit on Newman. That's what it was. Keith something or other. I can't remember the character. But anyway, no, I didn't know this. I did not know this. Is that the bullet, they said there was only one bullet, but it would have been a magic bullet because it went in through his chest, went out through his head, hit the guy in the wrist, then hit the guy and the other guy in the car. And it turns out that the Zabruta film had not been seen. Well, the film, there was a guy in the crowd who had taken a home movie and he caught it all on video. And it turns out that the Warren Commission, when they said that it was a lone gunman acting, uh, independently of everyone else, turns out that's not true. That wasn't true at all.
So Dick
So
Van Dyke is 97 years old, and he's going to have a birthday in a couple weeks, December 13th. If he makes it to December 13th, he'll be 98 on December 13th. Wow, how about that?
very good. And I just want to add one thing right now. Dick Van Dyke was not mentioned at all in the Zabruta film or with Rob Reiner and JFK. It's a separate story. So do your own research.
So what's who's got a what is it, a podcast or a broadcast or something
It's a
about?
podcast. It's a
Oh,
podcast. It's out. It's out. It's Rob Reiner and Soledad
oh,
O'Brien, which is she's a
newscaster.
NPR
She's a
broadcast.
journalist. Yeah,
Yep,
yes,
yep.
yeah.
She's a journalist, and he has been doing this research. And so anyway, one of the things that they found and proven that it wasn't just a lone gunman. It's impossible to be a lone gunman. And
How
then
about that?
he's he like one of the first things that uh God, I just got mental block on the guy that was
Lee Harvey
supposedly
Oswald.
the Lee Harvey Oswald. When the first thing he said in the interview was, "I'm a patsy," and then I mean, just think on live TV, he was walked into the police station, and a bar owner was able to have a gun and kill this guy in the police station. So, and then so what I did not know, and Rob Reiner points out at the time, that Kennedy was a peacenik, and he wanted peace. Well, he didn't want to do the Vietnam thing. He wanted us out of Vietnam. He did, the Bay of Pigs, if you don't know what it was, is that the CIA had convinced him that we needed to do an invasion of Cuba because it was too close to America for it to be communist. And he was assured by the CIA that it would be a no-brainer, just in and out, be all done. They would think that it was Cuban exiles that had done it, not the CIA, and it blew up in their face. And
so are we saying so the theory is that it was basically the government that killed JFK? Is that what you're saying?
No,
is that the theory?
It's not the theory. What the theory is that if you were, Rob Reiner goes along the lines of saying, if this is a criminal investigation, the first thing that you're going to do is round up all the possible suspects who might have had a motive to kill the guy.
Right.
Right. But what I didn't know, and probably you didn't know, is that at that time, because of the Bay of Pigs, the CIA operation that failed miserably, and Kennedy took responsibility for it, he was misled by the CIA. And so Kennedy had secretly made plans to disband the CIA. So because of that, they had motive. Right? That's
so somebody was out to get him. Somebody was out to get him.
Right. General LeMay, is the General LeMay, who was the Air Force colonel, who was the head of chief of staff of the military. He too was against Kennedy because Kennedy wanted to have peace. He felt it was a bad idea with Russia.
Oh, interesting. Well, I'll have to listen to that podcast. Do you know the name of that podcast other than that I can look up Rob Reiner and Soledad O'Brien?
Yeah. Who killed JFK?
It's only about that. That's their only subject, huh?
That's it.
Oh, how interesting. I'll have to look it up. Hey, by the way, did you see, I don't want to rub in bad news, but Spotify premium subscribers now have access to Audible books, or what is it called? Books that are on tape, so to speak. Books.
Right.
What's that called? What's the name for it? Anyway.
It. Books on, pre-read books.
Yeah.
But not Audible brand necessarily.
No,
is the brand,
Audible is Amazon. So basically, they're just having books on, I would call it, recorded books.
Recorded books. So they have those.
Audio.
That's part of
books.
Spotify now. That's part of Spotify now.
They just call it audiobooks.
Audiobooks. Thank you. Audiobooks. So audiobooks are now on Spotify. You can look up any book, and maybe it'll be available to listen to, on Spotify. You're allowed, as a premium user, you're allowed 15 hours a month of listening. So that's great, don't you think?
Well, 15 hours would be a short story. Most of these books are a lot longer than that, so they'll get you coming and going there.
Well, I'm not sure how you can get more hours of reading, but I suppose you can get an Audible subscription or something, but I don't think Spotify would be interested in that. Spotify has some sort of upgrade path or something, right? I'm not sure.
Well, speaking of bad news, although I don't listen to it, the rumor is that Joe Rogan's contract is up and he's leaving Spotify.
That's okay. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, but anyway, and basically the rumor is that he's going to X. He was going to have a show on X, but right now
that would make sense. That would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I don't know if they have enough money to do it now because they're losing. They've lost
billions every day.
Advertising,
Yeah, it's great. That's so great. Oh my God, what a crazy situation.
I had no idea who was advertising on X, and huge dollars. I mean, like you have Apple, which is over $1 million, IBM over $1 million,
all the
NFL,
TV networks. Yeah. Oh yeah, the NFL.
The NFL.
Wow.
I had no idea how much money the NFL was spending on Spotify, on X. I had no idea on Twitter.
Well, I'm sorry to say that I got to run, but I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving there in Thailand, and Tina, have a happy Thanksgiving in Vegas or wherever you go. And
Well,
but I gotta go.
I think we've been on pretty much. We have some other stories I want to talk about. But before you go, I'm just going to say this. Martha Stewart is not having a turkey day this year. She's canceled her Thanksgiving dinner. And that
Is
is
that because her
sad.
best friend stopped smoking pot? What?
Oh yeah, Snoop Dogg stopped smoking pot. There's something else that's
But they're
that's
good friends,
that
right? So maybe that's why.
yeah. Yep. Well, all I would say is that it's too bad. Too bad, that she's not having Thanksgiving. So anyway, that's about it.
Yeah,
We
well,
will let's see what else. That's about all I wanted to talk about anyway today. I just want to wish everybody a very happy and a healthy Thanksgiving. And just so you know, we do have a link, the difference between sweet potatoes and yams. Basically, not much. They're both root vegetables, so who cares? Really, I think you're not going to feel cheated if you order sweet potatoes and you get yams. I don't think anybody will say, "Hey, I ordered sweet potatoes and yams. Take them back." Nobody's going to say that. And
Sweet
as long as they have
potatoes are a little
marshmallows in it,
sweeter.
yeah, as long as there's marshmallows on top, who cares? Really, seriously, that's it.
and on that
So
note, we say happy Thanksgiving. Hasta la vista, baby.
that's it. We'll talk to you again next week. Ken, thanks for joining us. Tina, thanks for joining us. I wish you all a very happy and a healthy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
We're gonna leave you now and just have a great time. Remember, you make it happen. Share the show with your friends. If you want, become the panel. And remember, everything you heard today was an opinion. And I will leave you with my one thought. You make it happen. Go out, make it happen. Stay safe, stay healthy, everybody. Until next week, we'll see you then. And bye for now. And we are off the air.